Hello, we are on lesson 4.8 and we are on page 259. I'm not going to write a whole lot on my board because it is mainly in your book. So if you just follow along with what I'm saying, then I think you'll be okay. On number 1, it says complete the table, but the table is already completed. So then you need to take those numbers and put them into X, Y coordinates. So on the graph, usually when you have a table, the first one is X and the second one is Y because you always run on the X line before you jump or dive on the Y line. This one in your book is flip-flopped. It makes me angry that it's flip-flopped because it's not right, but it is labeled correctly. So on number 1, on the chart, if you see charms, and then over here on the graph, on the right-hand side of your page, you see charms is on your Y line, okay? So for every 1 bracelet, they use 8 charms. So on here, for every 1 bracelet, they use 8 charms. For every 2 bracelets, they're gonna use 16. 3, 24, 4, 32. Okay, and then they go into 5 on the thing. They want you, on problem number 2, okay, they want you to give me the coordinates. So it gave you, I think, number 1, and I think it gave you number 2, but they want you to do number 3. So the first one is 3, and then it goes to 24. And then 4 and 32. And then 5, it would be this one, and 40. Okay, again, this one is counting singly, it's counting your bracelets. This counts the number of beads or charms used per bracelet. So it does go in a pattern, it's counting by 8s, but it's not counting by 1s like a normal grid does. That's what's different between the ratio grids and the regular coordinate plane grids. Also, this only has 1 coordinate, or 1 quadrant, sorry, 1 quadrant. The other ones that we've been working on lately have been 4 quadrants with the positives and the negatives. And we'll get there with this one. So we did number 1, we looked at the table. We did number 2, we filled out the coordinates that go with that table. Now we're gonna look at number 4. Oh, on number 3, hopefully you put the dots on the grid. On number 4, it says complete the table of equivalent ratios. So let's look at our labels. The first one is bars. Is that going to be your X line or is that going to be your Y line? It's labeled for you and it's going to be the Y line. Okay. And secondly is boxes, and it just counts by 1s. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So if you look over on your grid, the first dot that you see is on 1 box, and how many number of bars come in 1 box? If I look and see, it says 10. So on my chart for number 4, I would put 10. 10 bars come in 1 box. What if I buy 2 boxes? How much is it going to be? And if I look on my chart, it says that I will get 20 boxes, and then 30 boxes, and then 40 boxes. Okay? And then find the unit rate per box. If you know what a unit rate is, you know that it has 1 at the bottom. So what is our unit rate? 10 bars for 1 box. Okay? You're taking the table and you're just putting it on the grid. And then you need to learn how to read the dots to make coordinate pairs. That's what this whole lesson is about. Okay? So on your 4.8 lesson, 4.8, you're doing all of the front and all of the back. She walks 3 miles for every 1 hour. It's labeled here it's labeled here clearly. You just need to fill out this table. Then over here at the bottom, it's missing some numbers, okay? But I will tell you that the bottom one is the number of hours, and the one on the Y line is your miles. Again, they flipped it, and I would have it go the other way. I would have X go first and then Y, but whatever. That's my problem and not yours. Number 3, you need to write the ordered pairs that match this table. Number 4, you need to label the grid with the missing numbers and label it miles and label it hours. And then number 5, it says, what does 2-6 represent? You have to tell me. Is it 2 miles? Is it 2 hours? Is it 6 miles? Is it 6 hours? You have to tell me what 2,6 means on this grid. Okay? On the back, it just gives you some of the dots. You need to find the pattern and you need to fill in all of the missing dots. Okay, that's on number 1, 2, 3, and 4. You need to find the unit rate. What is it for like 1 hour or 1 mile? Okay, you need to find the unit rate so that the bottom number is 1. And then it said ordered pairs right here. The ordered pairs is the ones that you filled in. Don't give me the ones that they gave you. Give me the ordered pairs, which is this, that you filled in on this chart. Give me the ones that were missing, okay? After you do your book practice, after you do your worksheet, now we have 2 wheels to do. It is a front and back. It's a unit rate, and it's rate and ratios, okay? These are excellent notes because guess what? You have a test tomorrow. So, and you're able to use these notes and anything in your binder on your test. So hopefully you take good notes on this and you can do a good job, okay? Try this. Okay, we are on unit rates. Make sure that you are not on ratios and rates side. We are on the units rate side. Okay, the very first question, what is a unit rate? A comparison to 1 unit. Okay, you always want to have that unit at the bottom be 1. Okay, rotating, finding a unit rate. Sam ran 14 miles in 2 hours. 14 miles in 2 hours. What is his rate per hour? So we want to bring this down to a 1. There's a couple ways that you can do that. You can either just divide by 2, take this down to 1, or you know that you can draw the lines. I think this one's simple enough that we can just do it in our head. Divide by 2, 14 divided by 2. Sam runs 7 miles per 1 hour, and that is the unit rate. Okay. The unit rate is not just the top number, it is the whole entire thing. So don't just think, oh, the answer is 7. It's 7 miles per hour. Okay. On the other side of this, it says Milo bought a 4-liter bottle of soda for $2.96. What is the unit rate for the soda? Because it has a 4-liter bottle. It just wants to know how much it is per liter. And remember, you always want to put money on top. So $2.96 over 4. And we want to know what it is by 1. How you find that? 296 divided by 4. Bring the decimal straight up. 4 cannot fit into 2. 4 can fit into 29 7 times. And 4 can fit into 16 4 times. So it cost 74 cents per liter. Okay, if you take these notes, then you can use them on your test and you're like, wait, I can't remember how to find a unit rate. Here you go, there's the answer. Put the money on top, put the amount on bottom, like the amount of liters or whatever you're buying on the bottom, and then divide. Make sure you shove that top number over into the house, the division house. And then it says, find the better deal. This is going back to when we were talking about like the game shop, or if you go to Walmart and you're looking at cereal and you're trying to find the better value. So the price goes on top. So 128 ounces for that much. Or 64 ounces for that much. Which container is the better deal? Again, you would shove it over. This one, I'll just tell you the answer, is 5 cents per 1 ounce. Okay? And this one is 6 cents per 1 ounce. So this would be the better deal. Again, I would just shove that over. I would do my division. Okay. I just didn't want, there's not a whole lot of room to work that out over here. Okay. You always want to go with the cheaper deal. That's the better one. If you want to work out some of these and put them into unit rates, I highly suggest doing so. All right. Now you're going to flip your paper over to the ratios and rates. A ratio is either part to whole or part to part. And sometimes the whole is first, so it would be whole to part. Okay? A rate is a ratio that compares units. Such as inches, feet, miles. Okay. Writing ratios and rates. You can use the word to. Using the word to, such as 12 to 5. What is the ratio of stars to squares? Here's stars, 3. And how many squares are there? To 2. Okay, you can write it as a fraction. What is the ratio of squares to shapes? Squares, there's 2. I have to write it in a... And how many shapes are there total? There are 5. Okay, and then you can also use a colon, which is the 2 dots. Okay, and such as if you're using it as a rate, which is measurement, it'd be 12 inches to 1 foot. Okay, and that's where labels are super important. Okay. Awesome. Hi, Yumian. Equivalent ratios. Write an equivalent ratio of stars to squares. Well, first we have to find out how many stars there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. And I'm going to do it in the fraction one. 6 and squares, there are 2. Okay, an equivalent ratio, you're always going to multiply top and bottom by the same number. So if I multiply this times 2 or times 3, 6 times 2, 12. 2 times 2, 4. 6 times 3, 18. 2 times 3, 6. There's equivalent ratios. Write an equivalent ratio to squares. 2 squares to shapes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, I'm just going to follow the times 2 and times 3 rule. Remember, you can choose really any number that you want. You can choose times 5, times 6, times 7, times 100, times 10. I don't care. Just 2s and 3s are easy. 4, 8 times 2, 16. 2 times 3, 6. 8 times 3, 24. Those are equivalent ratios. Okay. Now ratio tables. You have to follow the pattern. Okay. If you want to write that. Patterns. They're huge. Okay. If you have 1 feet, that's 12 inches. If you have 2 feet, that's 24 inches. This one is skipping the numbers. So how did you get from here to here? You multiplied by 12. Here to here, you multiplied by 12. 4 to here would be 48. Oh no, 84. I think that might be 84. I don't know my 12s very well. Okay. This one, I'm going to write in the times 2, times 3, and times 4 up here. So if you started out with 2 squares, what would happen if you bought another bundle of this package? Let's say this is going in a gift wrapping thing for like party favors. They give 2 squares, 6 stars with a total of 8 pieces. Okay. If you give it to 2 friends, that would be 4, and that would be 12, and that would be 16. If you multiply 2 times 3, you get 6. If you multiply 6 times 3, you get 18. And if you multiply 8 times 3, you get 24. And if you want to check, you can add these together since this is saying that this is the total. Squares. 2 squares times 4 bags will get you 8. 6 stars times 4 gift wraps would be 24, and 8 times 4 will give you 32. Okay? Again, there's some examples on the outside if you want to practice. That would be very cool. Prepare for your test tomorrow. Be amazing. Have a great day.